Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. Today's video is, again, like some videos that I've been doing recently, a little bit different. This video is going to be some underrated biopics. Well, in my opinion, some of them are quite well known, but don't really get talked about anymore. Some of them you may not have heard of. But yeah, I've only gone through 3 shelves and I've managed to find quite a lot already. Because drama is one of my favourite genres, so primarily I have got a lot of biopics. I do find biopics interesting. In fact, I'm watching one tonight that I've never seen before, so that should be good. I don't know, I have recorded another video, but I think I'll put this up before that video, so this will probably go up tomorrow, Thursday. I'll probably put this up, and then that other video I'll probably put up Saturday. Yeah, just because I wanted to do this whilst it was fresh in my head, and if you like this, definitely could do probably 2, maybe even a part 3, because there's definitely more that I could find in the collection. But anyway, let's get started. First up, one that I rewatched not that long ago. I remember seeing it at the cinema. Really great true story. Love this film. It's called Only the Brave, and it's based on the true story of the Granite Mountain Hotshots, who were like a group of fire fighters that basically their job was to put out the forest fires. And obviously with everything that's going on in LA at the moment, this kind of rings true to home for them, I suppose, right now. But it's a fantastic story, just of heroism and bravery, as the title suggests. You got Josh Brolin, Miles Teller, Jeff Bridges, Jennifer Connelly, Taylor Kitsch, who else is in it? James Badge Dale. Yeah, really great cast, and it's directed by Joseph Kosinski, who did Top Gun Maverick. But it's a fantastic film. I love this film. Again, not one that many people talk about nowadays, but I'm going to say, with all of these, if you like a good true story, then definitely one that you'll like if it sounds like your sort of thing. Next up, this should have really gone in my British films one, but again, as I said, I could probably even get a part 2 out of that, because there's a few in here that kind of come under British gems, and this is definitely one of them that I should have included. It's a fantastic film that I could always puts me in a good mood when I watch it, and that is Philomena, with the great Judi Dench and Steve Coogan. This is it Stephen Frears film? Yeah, this is basically about Judi Dench's character, Philomena Lee, who in the 50s was sent to a convent, and she was pregnant and she had a child, and as they did back then in Ireland, the nuns would just take the children away and the mothers wouldn't know what happened to them. So it's kind of however many years later, 50 years later I suppose, and she meets Steve Coogan's character, who's a journalist that wants to try and help find out what happened to her daughter. And get the story out there. And it's just fantastic. The chemistry between these two is incredible. Judi Dench is absolutely fantastic. She gives one of her very best performances in this. And it's just a really heartwarming, feel-good film. British film as well. So, yeah, that's Philomena. Next up, we have Patch Adams, one of my favourite Robin Williams films, based on Patch Adams' real life. He was a doctor, a student that was becoming a doctor, but his medicine is humour, so the way he likes to try and heal people is through humour, and he really believes that it works. It's just a really fantastic story of the odds being against him, people being really against him, and what he's trying to do to help people, and just, yeah, it's just fantastic. Not only is it really funny, Robin Williams gives such an incredible performance, and it's just a lovely film. So yeah, if you like Robin Williams, it's no brainer. Patch Adams, what a fantastic film. Then we have one that, again, I saw at the cinema quite a long time ago now. It does say inspired by true events, and it is one called The Promise, which, as you can see, stars Oscar Isaac, Christian Bale, and Charlotte the Bomb. And it's during the Ottoman Empire, during about the start of the First World War. And Christian Bale plays an American war correspondent, and you got Oscar Isaac's character, who was born in Armenia, and they're trying to basically get out, I suppose, and Oscar Isaac falls in love with Charlotte Le Bon's character, who's also kind of with Christian Bale's character, so it's kind of a love triangle as well. But it's kind of trying to get out of the country and also save as many lives as they can whilst doing it. As I remember it being a really good film. I've not seen it since it came out, so sorry if my details are a bit foggy, because I can remember really enjoying it, but I can't remember much else about it. What does stick with me is Chris Cornell's song in this, which was his final thing that he did before, unfortunately, he took his own life. And the song's called The Promise, and that song stuck in my head because it's a really good song, for the film especially. But yeah, really good film from what I remember. A really good true story. If you like your war films, definitely one that I recommend. Then next up we have a Michael Mann film, Public Enemies. Probably his biggest one that gets forgotten about. It's about who's it about? I get confused because obviously he did the Whitey Bulger one, Johnny Depp did, and this one, who was John Dillinger, there you go, I just remembered, John Dillinger, obviously Johnny Depp, as I said, Christian Bale again, and Marion Cotillard. Really good, like Prohibition era thriller, obviously about John Dillinger, who was a big gangster back then, and Christian Bale plays the FBI agent who's basically just trying to get him, catch him. I won't spoil what happens, but it's great. You got, I remember Stephen Graham's in this, got a small role in it. You got Billy Crudup, Stephen Dorff, Stephen Lang. Yeah, I remember it being really good, but again, not many people talk about it anymore, but I really dig it. Next up, based on a true story, which I didn't know about, it's a Mike Nichols film from 1990, I want to say. Yeah, 1990, and it's called Postcards from the Edge, and it stars Meryl Streep, Shirley MacLaine, and Dennis Quaid. And it is based on the life of Carrie Fisher and her mother, Debbie Reynolds, their relationship with each other. Based on Carrie Fisher's memoir, I suppose you would say. So yeah, you got Rob Reiner in here. I'm sure Gene Hackman's got a really small role in this film as well. I'm sure it's Gene Hackman. I'm pretty sure I've said this before. Trying to remember who's in it, but I'm sure Gene Hackman's in this as well. But yeah, I just remember it being a really uplifting, comedic sort of film, and you can kind of see how it's basically Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds, although it's not in this film. It's based on them, so it's still based on a true story, but obviously their names are different. But yeah, really good. Meryl Streep, I remember being fantastic. Shirley MacLaine's always fantastic as well. So yep, that's another really great one. Then next up we have Clint Eastwood film, Richard Jewell. Love this film. Saw it at the cinema, if I remember rightly. It's based on the true story of Richard Jewell, who was a security guard at the Olympic Park. I think it was a concert in 1996, and they found a bomb, and he spotted it and managed to, I don't think anyone died if I remember rightly. He basically saved a lot of lives by spotting this bomb, but then the government start to pin it on him, and it's just basically how the American government works. And yeah, it's a great film, a human strength and resilience, and Kathy Bates is excellent as his mother. Sam Rockwell's always great, plays his lawyer. Yeah, this is one of my favourite Clint Eastwood directed films. If you've not seen this, you like a really good true story, highly recommend this one. This one of my favourite films of the last 10-15 years. It did win Best Picture, so it is probably one of the bigger films on this list, but that is Spotlight. Bloody fantastic film this one is. It's basically about how the Boston Globe uncovered the allegations of abuse within the Catholic Church, and how everybody in power chose to ignore it instead of doing something about it. It's just a really well made film. The performances in this, especially from Michael Keaton, is fantastic. Just an incredible film, just about what the government does, covering up these sorts of things and making people go silent just so it doesn't get out, so they don't ruin their image, that sort of thing. and it's really well made, really well done. There's some really tense scenes in this, and yeah, I really love this film, Spotlight. Next up, one that nobody's probably ever heard of, but I watched on a whim a few years ago at Christmas. Just found it streaming somewhere, and then it was announced to be released on Blu-ray a few months later, which I thought was so random because it's one of the biggest indie films I've ever seen, and as I said, I just stumbled across it, so I may never have found it. And it's a film called Music Within, and it stars Ron Livingston, Melissa George, Michael Sheen, Rebecca De Mornay, and actually Leslie Nielsen's in this one as well, playing a doctor that helps them. And it's based on the true story of Richard Pimentel, who I believe is Ron Livingston's character, who comes back from the Vietnam War severely hearing impaired, and then he finds a new purpose in life of fighting for disabled rights, and he along the way becomes best friends with Michael Sheen's character, who I believe's got cystic fibrosis or cerebral palsy, one of the two. I'm sorry, I can't remember. It doesn't say either, but it's a severe learning disability, and he's confined to a wheelchair. And it's back fighting for disabled rights, and I thought it was a bloody fantastic film. If you like those sorts of films, fighting for the underdog sort of thing, then definitely well worth checking out, I would say. Next up, we have another British film, another one that I really liked. I just loved the story of this, and it's My Week with Marilyn. I think because it's about the film business, I've really enjoyed it. It's obviously about 1 week in the summer of 1956. Marilyn Monroe has come to England to work on this new film. She's kind of going through some problems during the time, but she meets Eddie Redmayne's character, who is just got into the film business. He's only an assistant, and they kind of spark up a friendship with one another. And yeah, it's just about their relationship with each other during the filming of this film, how she is a bit unstable at times, and how he helps her. And yeah, Michelle Williams is fantastic as Marilyn Monroe, probably the best portrayal of Marilyn Monroe I've seen. You've got Dougray Scott, who plays her husband, Arthur Miller, who's a playwright. You've got Judi Dench in this, Emma Watson's in this, Kenneth Branagh playing Laurence Olivier in this. He's fantastic. I think he was nominated for an Oscar. But yeah, really great film, this one. If you like Hollywood stories, there'll be another one coming up, then I would definitely recommend that one. Next up, one that I've watched many times. We were talking about it on the live stream the other night, I think. Sam brought it up saying he saw it at the cinema, and it's one that I thought I'd add because it's a fantastic film, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, but in case you haven't, We Bought a Zoo, based on the Me family? Yeah, Benjamin Mee, played by Matt Damon, who's a single dad who basically buys a zoo he doesn't know is a zoo, and it's about him raising his family and also owning a zoo. And you've got Scarlett Johansson, who's one of the zoo workers, I suppose. Yeah, really great film, this one, and the real zoo's not too far away. I think it's in, I want to say it's in Devon or Dorset, not too far away from where I am, not too far away at all, probably 2 hours maybe, so it'd be interesting to go there one day. But yeah, really good, heartwarming. It's Cameron Crowe film, and I think he's a fantastic director. And yeah, this is just a really well-made film, really heartwarming. The music's really great in this as well. I think there's quite a bit of, is it Cat Stevens? I think has quite a bit of music in this. But yeah, really good on this one, We Bought a Zoo. Next up, we have a Robert Zemeckis film, and one of his that's not really spoken about that much, and that is The Walk, based on Philip Petit's true story of walking between the two towers in the, when was it, the 70s? Yeah, I think it was in the 70s. He basically walks between the two twin towers during the 70s. You got Ben Kingsley, who plays like his mentor. You got Charlotte Le Bon, who's I think his love interest. James Badge Dale, who's one of his friends. The score is Alan Silvestri, as I said, as Robert Zemeckis. And yeah, it's just a really interesting film. Really, again, if you like your true stories, something a bit different, something a bit more accessible, family friendly, then yeah, this is another really interesting one, a good one, that one. Then this was the other one I was talking about Hollywood, which I think I showed recently because I picked it up just over Christmas, but really like this one, really interesting film, this one. And that's Trumbo, based on the true story of Dalton Trumbo, who was a screenwriter in Hollywood in the 40s and 50s, and he got blacklisted basically for because they believed that he was a member of the Communist Party. And if you know, back in those times, the Hollywood Association, or basically anyone that was associated with the Communist Party, was outcast and blacklisted, because they just didn't want to know about it. And it's basically how he kind of fights for what he believes in, and gets together with some friends, including Kirk Douglas, who's play. I can't remember who plays Kirk Douglas in this. Doesn't actually say. But he is played by someone in this. You've got Helen Mirren in this as well, John Goodman, Diane Lane, Michael Stuhlbarg. Really great cast. Obviously Bryan Cranston as Trumbo. But yeah, again, it's just about him overcoming the odds to get a screenplay out, and he does eventually. It's a true story, so I'm not spoiling anything. He creates the script for Stanley Kubrick's Spartacus, obviously starring Kirk Douglas, but he had to do it like he was like kind of a ghostwriter, I think. But then he fights to get his name on the script. So really interesting story. If that sounds interesting to you, there's a lot more than that. I'm obviously not the best because it's been a while since I watched it, but that is the gist of what it's about, and it's a very interesting and well-made film. 3 to go. Next up we have Stronger with Jake Gyllenhaal. In this he plays just an everyday man. He is watching his girlfriend do a marathon, and it turns out to be the Boston Marathon, in which the bombings took place in 2013, and unfortunately he gets entangled in the explosion and loses both of his legs in the process. And it's about his story of healing, kind of getting back to where he was, trying to build himself up again, and with his family support, and how difficult it is. And it's a really great film. As I said, I don't know the man's name, but it is based on a true story, and it's another one I saw at the cinema and thoroughly enjoyed. But if you like those sorts of films, like again an underdog type of story, then definitely recommend checking that one out. Next up, another British film that I never included on my list first time around, and that is A Street Cat Named Bob. Based on the true story of James Bowen, who's a London busker who's a recovering drug addict, and he comes across Bob, an injured cat, takes him in, and his life is changed because of this cat, basically. I won't go into it much more than that, but it's a very uplifting film, very heartwarming, great British film. They did do a sequel, I think it was called A Christmas Gift for Bob, but I never watched that, and it never got a Blu-ray release. But this is a really good one. Unfortunately, I think Bob's passed away now, because Bob is actually playing himself in this. But yeah, you got James Treadaway. Who else? No, not James. Why did I say James? Because it's James Bowen in it. Luke Treadaway is what I meant to say. Joanne Froggatt, who's in the Downton Abbey. Anthony Head, who's probably most known for being in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But for me, it'd be Little Britain. That's what I remember him from. And yeah, really uplifting film. Great British film. Definitely puts you in a good mood. And finally, I had to look this up because it doesn't actually say anywhere on the case that it is based on a true story, but apparently it's based on the author of the book's grandmother. So it is technically based on a true story, so I thought I'd show it because it's a fantastic film, and it won the lead actress an Oscar, and that is Still Alice with Julianne Moore. And it's been a long time since I've seen this, but I remember it being an incredible film. It's about Julianne Moore's character Alice, who's a professor, and she discovers that she's got early onset Alzheimer's disease, and it's basically how she is processing it, how she's coping with it, along with her family, her husband, played by Alec Baldwin, her daughter, played by Kristen Stewart. Who else is in this? Kate Bosworth plays another one of her daughters, I believe. And yeah, it's a really quite an emotional film, quite a sad film, but a really good film, really interesting film. Teaches you a lot about, I suppose, Alzheimer's and how it can affect families. And yeah, one that I enjoy. Excuse me. So that is Still Alice. And that is all that I have picked out. As I said, if I'd have picked any more, this video would have gone on for too long. But as I said, if you like this video, I could definitely do some more. I'm going to try and do some more, another part of my imports video, although I think I've shown quite a few in this video, to be honest. But I'll try and find some more to talk about, because there's definitely, I mean, I can see a few here already, so I'm sure I'll be able to find some. But yeah, those are some underrated biopics in my collection that I think you'll enjoy if you've not seen them. Let me know if you've got any recommendations for me down below, because I always like finding new films to watch. And if you like the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, turn your notification bell on so you know when I have a new video uploaded to the channel. Comment down below anything and everything. As you know, I always take the time to get back to anyone that leaves me a comment, because I really do appreciate it. And that is it. So until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye.